Hello and welcome to the Nurburgring. It's the sixth race of the DTM season 2011 and actually the second half of the season. And after yesterday's qualifying, we certainly know why it's called the green hell here. Anything is possible here and it's very unpredictable, especially in regards to the weather. At the moment, it's dry. We'll see what happens. And now I'm standing here with Timo Scheider. And the qualifying for you didn't go very well. You're starting in P8 today. However, we're talking about that earlier. You already managed to win a race from P15. So in other words, how's your feeling for starting from P8?
Well, in front of the home crowds, for sure, the motivation is really high. So I tried yesterday to make something better, but P8 is the position we are, and we have to try to make the best out of it. The performance in the warm-up session this morning was not too bad, so I'm really optimistic so far.
Now, I was just going to say, of course, you're from around here, and you've got your family here. I'm sure a lot of friends supporting you as well. You've actually never managed to win a race here. Is that your goal for today? I know it's difficult from P8.
Yeah, definitely. That's the goal always, but I know that's tough, and we have some tough guys in front. But I try my very best. I think you have to have a good start. The first corner is something really important right here at Nurburgring. But yeah, like I said, we are looking forward.
All right, thank you so much, Timo. Best of luck for the race. And of course, I'll be back with all the exclusive and live interviews in just a moment. And here's now our commentator, Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, thanks very much, Verena. Looking down here on the magnificent paddock. Yeah, it's still quite cold here, 16.7 degrees centigrade. Not as cold as it was 2 weeks ago for the German Grand Prix. Interesting to see how Timo Scheider will come up through the field. And let's check out this track now with the Hankook animation. And of course we start in front of the giant grandstand and the two hotels. Mercedes versus Audi as ever on our animation. And it's a run a little bit downhill to the first corner, the Yokohama S it's called. And it's a very tight bend. See a lot of action down here on the opening lap. It's virtually a hairpin. And there they go. And then of course into the Mercedes arena. Two lefts, the second one tighter or down in second gear here. This track tends to have mainly slow and medium speed bends, and then accelerating again down towards the cut through. We're not using the full Grand Prix track here, we're using the 3.6 kilometer version. And another hairpin, and then downhill into third, coming up through the gears and down towards the Vorsteiner curve. Here they go, downhill, left and then right. Then there's a climb up the hill again to the very first fast turn 5, the Advan corner. And after that we'll be heading towards the very tricky chicane. We might see some people bounce across the grass there, then to the final corner. A long right-hander, and then back towards the start-finish line. Here are the statistics then of this track. It's 3.629. The race will be 177 kilometers. Let's get down to Verena.
I'm now here with Jamie Green. Now, Jamie, the qualifying yesterday was pretty good, starting in P2. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we all love to be on pole position, and that didn't quite happen for me. The weather was changeable, especially in Q4. So to get through to Q4 was a good performance from me and the Mercedes team, and obviously I'm happy with that. And starting on the front row is always a good opportunity. So hopefully I can have a good race today.
And now you're obviously quite a bit behind Bruno. However, you're still second best Mercedes. Yeah. 18 points, I believe, all in all, you're behind Bruno. But you're starting in P2 and Bruno is starting in P4. Does that mean that hunting season has begun?
Definitely, yeah. I think that my season hasn't really got started yet. There's a lot of positives in my performance, especially qualifying has been strong. But here and there we've had problems in the race which have held me back a little bit. I feel that I haven't showed my full potential, and obviously Bruno's had the rub of the green for the first half of the season, so everything's gone well for him. I'm hoping that I can have a similar situation in the second half of the year and give him a run for his money.
And you were here a few weeks ago for Formula One. Are you still dreaming the dream of Formula One?
Well, dream is the right word, I think. In reality, the focus is DTM and winning the championship. Been here for a few years and not achieved that, so clearly if you have success here, that increases your chance of having a strong career in future, as Paul Di Resta has shown. So first step is success in DTM, and that's what I'm thinking about right now.
It's the second half of the season, so there's still plenty of time. The race today, what's your goal?
Well, the win, obviously, but you have to take it as it comes. DTM's always challenging, and here in the Nurburgring, the weather throws in another challenge. So there's plenty of hurdles that can trip you up, and you've got to stay focused and react to the conditions, as we saw in qualifying yesterday. So, you know, keep an open mind and believe in myself, trust my team that they'll give me the right tyres when they're required if we have rain. And so, yeah, lots of questions, but everything's possible.
It's going to be an exciting race. Thank you so much, Jamie. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's check out the grid then. And Matthias Ekstrom, he started on the pole here last year, he's on the pole again, and last year he finished in 7th. Jamie Green, you've just heard from him on the front row of the grid, looking for his first victory here at the Nürburgring. Mike Rockenfeller, the winner at Zandvoort earlier in the season, with Bruno Spengler, the championship leader. Then it's Eduardo Mortara and Miguel Molina. Martin Tomczyk, second in the championship, 2 wins this season, and Timo Scheider, we have already heard from Timo. Then Renger van der Zande and David Coulthard, Christian Vittoris and Felipe Albuquerque. Gary Paffett had a nightmare of a qualifying, and Susie Stoddart, Oliver Jarvis and Rahal Frey, Ralf Schumacher and Maro Engel at the back. And now we can go back to Verena.
And I'm here with Matthias Ekström, who's already getting ready, because obviously the race is going to start in just a bit. You're starting in pole, same as last year, but then the race didn't go too well. How's the feeling today for the race?
Yeah, I mean, today it's a new day. Yesterday was really good, and I mean, last year also we were on pole, couldn't manage to win, but today that we are going to fight for the win.
All right, best of luck, and now back to you, Andrew.
Ekstrom hasn't had a win since Valencia, which was early last season. And still, of course, one of Audi's top men. Let's see how he'll fare here as Jamie Green climbs into the car with his familiar crash helmet. There is Jamie Green. Spengler, of course, the championship leader. Just to recap, Spengler 2 wins this season, Tomczyk 2 wins, and Rockenfeller 1. They're the 3 winners we've had. Audi 3, Mercedes-Benz 2. And we should also mention, of course, fresh from winning at Spa last week, Timo Scheider had a great win there, and driving with Matthias Ekstrom in the Audi R8 LM. So they're fresh from standing on the top step of the podium. Just to go back to qualifying yesterday, we had a succession of little rain showers coming over, really made the whole thing a lottery. And Matthias Ekstrom's pole position is actually by a margin of some 3 seconds, because it actually dried up right at the end of the shootout. Remember, the 4 drivers all go out individually in the shootout, and right at the end it dried up and just brought the cars into their working temperature. These tyres really don't have much grip until they get up to temperature, and that's exactly what happened to Ekstrom. Bruno Spengler there. Well, we met with Norbert Haug before lunch, and he will not confirm if Spengler has signed a new Mercedes-Benz contract for 2012. And the speculation therefore has to continue that Spengler may be going to BMW for 2012. We'll have to wait and see what actually happens. So we are getting ready here at the Nürburgring. Next year we'll use the same basic carbon chassis spec for the basis of their car, using their own suspension. The BMW has run, the Audi has run, the Mercedes has not run, but Norbert Haug told us this morning that it will be ready for the big group test, which I believe is early in September. Maybe after the race meeting, the first race meeting in September, which is at Oschersleben, and we haven't had it confirmed, but I think that's where they will be running. Here's the Drivers' Championship, the 3 points separating the men who have both won 2 races this year. Spengler and Tomczyk. Timo Scheider third with 24. Jamie Green with 21. Ralf Schumacher 17. Rockenfeller with 14. Ekstrom with only 11. He started the season with a 2nd place, but hasn't been in the top 5 since. Oliver Jarvis not having a great season, has to be said, and Ollie starting just 2 rows from the back. So hopefully he can come up through the field. So cars getting ready on these Korean Hankook tyres, which are pretty well developed here in Germany, just across the road from the Nurburgring in the big business park, where also the Team Phoenix organisation, who run Mike Rockenfeller's car, used to run Mike Rockenfeller's car, now run Martin Tomczyk's car. They're based just in that huge industrial park there. There is Norbert Haug. You see he's got the jacket on. This 16.5 degrees. Looks as if we've got a bigger crowd than last year. I think we had about 84,000 last year. The grandstands look particularly packed. And remember, we are using the shorter circuit, not the one that is used for the Grand Prix, but of course not the Great Nordschleife, the circuit which was used for the Nurburgring 24 hours. That Mercedes-Benz grandstand, iconic these days here at the Nurburgring, doesn't seem to have a seat empty. So the DTM again attracting a big crowd, such a huge success here in Germany, but spreading out with TV coverage around the world. And of course the next race will be away from Germany. We'll be going to Brands Hatch, and speculation there that race may switch to Silverstone for 2012. So here they are off on the warming up lap, trying to get some temperature into these tyres. Just weaving around then. And Matthias Ekstrom looking for his first victory then since Spain last year. His pole position, the 60th for Audi in the DTM. And again, just the grid once more. Ekstrom green, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Mortara, Molina, Tomczyk, Timo Scheider, Van der Zande and David Coulthard. Ekstrom fastest in the morning warm-up. Vittorius and Albuquerque, Paffett and Stoddart, Jarvis, Frey, Schumacher and Engel. Real Frey for the first time not off the back row of the grid. At a circuit where she's actually won one of the German Formula 3 series races here a couple of years ago, and also raced well here in the Volkswagen Sirocco Cup last year as a guest driver. That's where she was spotted by Audi, who gave her a test, and she thus replaced Catherine Legg, who's still looking for a drive this season. One of the other deposed drivers, Frankie Cheng, who raced the Red Stern Mercedes last year in the DTM. See that he's back in racing in the ALMS this very weekend at Mid-Ohio. Best of luck to him. But let's concentrate on this DTM. The second half of the season starts right here. Of course, we are fresh from that barrier-bashing bonanza, which was the show event at Munich. And I'm told that will definitely be on the calendar for next year, but not for any points. Just 3 points then between Spengler and Tomczyk, who's a double winner here at this track. Won a couple of years back. So interested to see if Tomczyk, with his local knowledge, can come through. Not a local man. Some of the drivers here are quite local, particularly Rockenfeller. There's Dr. Ulrich then, and Torsten Toppler, I should say, the race team manager for App Sport. Cars coming up to the grid for the start of this race, which will last just over an hour, probably an hour and 5 minutes-ish. Looking for the lap record, possibly to be broken today for the DTM. 1:24.372 is what it stands at the moment. But I think that could fall. Last few cars just pulling into place. And then we'll have the familiar lights going on and then being extinguished. And it is downhill, as you can see, into that first very tight hairpin bend. There from the Phoenix team, Ernst Moser we saw. So heartbeats are rising now, just seconds away from the start. There is Martin Tomczyk. Engine notes rising, lights, 5, and it is launch, and everyone seems to be making a fairly good start. To see Schumacher coming out into the middle, but it's Ekstrom who's got the inside, got a great getaway, has Ekstrom. And Rockefeller in second place, Spengler in third, I think it was. Everybody round through the Mercedes arena without any problems as far as I can see. But Ekstrom, what a great getaway from the cool Swede, now lives in Switzerland. Picked up a very nasty bug in Munich, has been feeling unwell for a week or so, but says he's better now. And Mortara going well. See Mortara well up into fourth place, is it, Mortara? Edo Mortara, who starred in the Munich event. From Mortara being run by the Rosberg organisation, one of the, well, the smallest team in the DTM. With the Playboy logo on the car. Go on board with Timo Scheider on this, the first of the 49 laps. Audi, Audi, Mercedes, Audi, Audi, Mercedes, Audi, Audi, Mercedes, Mercedes, Audi, as they go through the field. Ekstrom, Rockefeller. We have, of course, got the split times, and there's Gary Paffett making some progress already. And I think Gary Paffett's now already past David Coulthard. Gary Paffett is really flying. Was pretty miserable yesterday, but I had breakfast with him this morning and he chirped up a considerable amount. Feels that he can make some progress, and David Coulthard going wide there, and Albuquerque going through, and Coulthard dropping 2 or 3 places in that manoeuvre. And some strikes. Oh, and we got, goodness me, Ralf Schumacher is round and backwards off the track with a helping hand. I think we'll get a replay, no doubt, see who punted Ralf Schumacher off. Ralf had been making some good progress as well, had been up to 13th place from the back row of the grid. Ekstrom, Rockefeller, Spengler, then Mortara, Timo Scheider, Green, Tomczyk. Paffett is already 9th, that's fantastic from Gary Paffett. Let's see if he can keep that progress up. And Ralf decides to abandon ship. Quite a bit of damage to the front of the car. And now it looks as if Rockefeller's closed up a little bit on Ekstrom. And did I see a little bit of damage there to the car of Martin Tomczyk on the front? Let's have a look at this. And also Vittoris sideways. Let's see that shot from the back of Vittoris' car onto the rumble strip, but he'll survive that. This is Timo Scheider, seeing the bumping and boring going on with Paffett and indeed with Tomczyk. Let's see what this view gives us, this replay. There's, watch the car with the orange nose, that's Ralf Schumacher. And that was Ralph's attempt at the start to move up 3 or 4. Oh, there he was. There's he was spun definitely by DC. So the 2 Grand Prix drivers get together. And I thought that was a replay from the first lap, but it wasn't. And look at that. Oh. So it gave DC a push, and then somehow the end product of that was Ralf Schumacher got to spat off after that. I don't know if that was a bit of retaliation from DC. I'd like to see that again. There, DC being pushed by Ralf Schumacher. Albuquerque goes down the inside, and then, well, we just came off the replay just too early there, didn't we? But now we see it from a different angle, and there's Tomczyk and Gary Paffett, and there's Paffett right at the back of our camera. And you see the damage already to Tomczyk's car from that. You got on the right in the white car, you had Timo Scheider. But out of all that, we've got Ekstrom still in the lead from Rockefeller. And the margin, well, it's just 0.5 of a second, according to my timesheet. There, looking at it on the screen, it looks like about 3 cars length. Then we got Spengler in 3rd place. Then we got Mortara, Scheider, Jamie Green, who has gone backwards from the pole position, and quite a bit of damage to DC's car as well. I think he'll probably continue. When he does his pit stop, he'll probably put a bit of racer tape on that, unless the wind gets under it, starts to lift the bonnet. And Gary Paffett now in 9th place. Jamie Green, though, after getting involved in some of that rough and tumble, has dropped back. I think I might have read that wrong. I mentioned Paffett involved in one incident. I think it was Jamie Green, in fact, that was involved with Tomczyk. Yes, it was. And Tomczyk with the grill there hanging askew, but I don't think that'll be affecting the performance much. So Paffett in 9th, and his next target will be Molina, the Spanish driver, yet to get in the points this season. Currently in the points in 8th place, and it's been a disappointing second year in the DTM for Molina. Been somewhat eclipsed by Edo Coulthard, the Geneva-based driver. There he is with the Playboy symbol on the front of the car. And there is Paffett now, right behind Molina. And car 17, David Coulthard, has been shown a black and orange flag. Stewards are looking at the damage to his car. It can continue at the moment. Ekstrom 126.2, still just bringing these tyres right in. Was a little bit below the speeds we ran yesterday in practice, and DC decides to head for the pits. Yeah, disappointing for the Grand Prix driver. Twice started on the pole position at the German Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Rockenfeller in the other yellow car still holding station behind Ekstrom. Just 3 or 4 cars length. Spengler there in 3rd place. Mortara in 4th. Timo Scheider is 5th from Jamie Green, and they're going to work on the splitter, which is obviously damaged. What about some racer tape? Putting a new set of tyres on. And there you see Ralf Schumacher twice into DC. And then this is it. This is DC. He got his retaliation. And, well, I'd like to speak to David about that afterwards. It looked pretty deliberate to me. The new front goes on, and of course that's going to drop David right to the back of the field. Already got Ralf Schumacher out of the action, and we still got Rockenfeller keeping the pressure up on Ekstrom. Mike Rockenfeller said in an interview yesterday after his 3rd fastest qualifying, if you think I'm still suffering a little bit from that big shunt at Le Mans, forget it, I feel absolutely fine now. And proving that again today. Here's DC, out he goes. Official pit window not yet open, of course. Paffett in 9th, seems to be stuck there a little bit, and DC coming out a lap behind most of these guys, keeping nicely out of the way, and then drops in behind the Jamie Green car, running in 6th place. Just some great audio there from the onboard microphone. There's still looking as he wants to get past the second Red Bull car. Is Paffett trying to get on the inside now? Has Paffett got a run here? Paffett looks down the inside. It's not enough room. And there he is, right behind the Spaniard. He's got a Spaniard in front of him. He's got the Portuguese driver, Felipe Albuquerque, behind. So he is the ham in an Iberian sandwich. Molina and Paffett, 8th and 9th. That's the battle we were talking about. Ekstrom and Rockenfeller. The gap between them remains constant. This is a good little struggle here. Early days yet. And car number 17 still under investigation, and I suspect that David will get a drive-through for that, actually. Probably Ralph would have got one too, but he's out of the race. And looking down now from our high-up shot on this battle for 8th, 9th and 10th places. 11th, Van der Zande. And Mortara still holding off Timo Scheider and Jamie Green and Tomczyk. Again, Gary Paffett looking down the inside. And I get the feeling that surely Paffett is going to get past him pretty soon. Not easy to overtake here at the Nurburgring with these slow and medium speed corners, and perhaps the best place is after the pits and down into that hairpin. The two manufacturers pretty well level on engine power. They will be using those same motors in the new spec all carbon cars next year. And here again, Paffett tries. BMW have a brand new motor. Paffett gets sideways on in his attempt to get past. And now, can he get through now? And look at Albuquerque. Albuquerque goes down the inside. Albuquerque seems to have a lot of speed there. And Albuquerque goes past Gary Paffett on pure power. But then Gary leaves it late for the braking. And this could all end up in the gravel, but it doesn't. And in fact, wow, goodness me, look at that. Gary Paffett drops back 2 spots. I thought he was going to move up a spot instead. He must have been surprised by the speed of Albuquerque down the straight there. It's almost as if he had a boost button. And they are all lined up behind the second Red Bull car there of Miguel Molina. And Susie Stoddart in the game as well. It was Susie in 13th place, but in this battle, Gary bouncing it over the curb. That's when he was just behind the back of Molina, and then he touches Molina, I think. Albuquerque right in the action, and then running down into the first corner. Albuquerque on power. Gary tries to brake him, can't do it. He's on the outside, gets a bit of a nudge from the Portuguese winner of the Race of Champions last year here in Germany, in Düsseldorf. And meanwhile, Ekstrom has just pulled away a little bit from Mike Rockenfeller, but it's still very close to those 2 top Audi. Spengler still hanging on to third, and that'll be good for him because Tomczyk, his main rival of the championship, is down in 7th place. And let's see if Gary Paffett, who already has inked a contract, a long-term contract with Mercedes-Benz for the next, I think it's at least 3 years, he is wanting to get past again. And look at Timo Scheider, who's trying to get past the Geneva-based driver who won the F3 Euro Series last year. Edo Mortara was a winner here in the Formula 3 indeed last year. It's been all Spanish victories in the Formula 3 this weekend here. And what about Oliver Jarvis? He's currently in 12th place, just ahead of Susie Stoddart. Well, that really was disastrous for Gary Paffett. Challenging for 8th place, and suddenly he finds himself back in the 11th. Run now with Timo Scheider past one of the 2 hotels on the main straight, the Dorint, which has been here for a number of years. And then there's the big new Lindner Hotel. Quite a bit of controversy here at the weekend. Some of the locals not happy with the new management group here, as we see a replay of the start. Just watching this time, Jamie Green, silvery car with the red mirrors. That's the shot from way up, almost in the clouds. And just, Jamie, did he miss a gear or something? There you see him on the right-hand side. 2 people by him immediately. And then he was engulfed in the tyre smoke. Somebody else went around the outside of him. And Tomczyk nipped down the inside. And all of a sudden, right at that first corner, Jamie Green relegated by 4 or 5 places. Disastrous start for the man from Leicestershire. Pit stop window just about to will open in a lap or so. Interested to see if there's any unusual strategies. Maybe Gary Paffett will try and get into clean air. And see, Albuquerque has got past Molina. I think Paffett is back past Van der Zande. There's Oliver Jarvis right up the boot of Van der Zande. I suspect that Gary might go in fairly early, or if a lot of the cars right by. Look at this is Albuquerque, and this is a replay of Albuquerque overtaking Molina. A very nice move from young Felipe. And there you saw Rengo van der Zande was just getting out of shape, and I guess that's how Gary Paffett got by him. Didn't see that in the replay. So it all happened in that one move, which was prompted by Albuquerque having a great run on Molina and passing him. There's Timo Scheider again in the auto test. Had a look at that magazine yesterday. Got a Timo Scheider column in the back of it, otherwise it's virtually all road tests. See, here's Timo Scheider, and down the inside of the Playboy car, and Scheider, a nice move from him on Mortara. But Timo Scheider moves up, and let's see what Scheider can do from there. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, and it's Timo Scheider. There they are, and we've already got a pit stop from Martin Tomczyk. Here he is coming in. I wonder if they'll try and do something with that grille. Yeah, let's see, one man goes straight, just straightens it, gives it a bit of a bashing, and meanwhile, magnificent, 2.9 seconds, great stop as Molina comes in, Paffett is in. Stood in the pits watching those boys doing that pit stop, and he's got a disaster there with Paffett. I'm quite sure. I saw them do 2 pit stops this morning, and both of them were just about 3 seconds in the morning warm-up, and they're quite sure what the problem was. And Gary there comes out behind the Red Bull car of Molina. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Timo Scheider. Tomczyk goes down to 12th place with his pit stop. Paffett all the way down to 15. And here we are coming into the pits. Unusual shot that from the back of the Mortara car. So Mortara and Jamie Green in together. So we've got a flurry of pit stops here as the window opens. Mortara 3.0 seconds, Green 3.7, and well, that means that it's status quo with those two as they come out just with Tomczyk, and Tomczyk is going to go the long way round. Can he get past Mortara? No, he can't. And can Jamie Green take advantage from that? Well, eventually Tomczyk has got the speed, look, and Martin Tomczyk just nips past Mortara. There's Jamie Green looking back at him from Mortara's car. So Jamie Green still struggling after that problem, getting away. Seemed to bulk up on second gear at the start. Ekstrom 127.1, Rockenfeller 127.29 it is actually. Just trying to see who else is going quickly out there. Need to see these boys, how they bring their tyres in. Albuquerque just did a 26.9. Timo Scheider comes in from fourth spot in the auto test. Audi A4. And Albuquerque's in as well. Nearly everybody's coming in. Scheider's away in 3.7. Just think you saw Engel coming in. Ekstrom and Rockenfeller staying out, as is Spengler, Jarvis and Vitoris. So, except the top 5, everyone that's running has come in. But a lot of racing. We just had 14 of the 49 laps, 2/7 that is of the race run. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Jarvis and Vitoris at the moment. But Jarvis and Vitoris will drop back down into the midfield situation there. Once again, we look at Jamie Green's silvery car. There is our leader then. Mattias Ekstrom looking for his first win in over a year. Rockenfeller comes in, followed by Spengler. So, Mecki might do another couple of laps. He's got lots of free air. And remember, these cars are very high downforce. They don't like running right behind someone. They're much happier out in the open air, using all that downforce from those various winglets you see, dive planes. And Spengler, 4 seconds. And Rockenfeller then gets in front of Spengler there. Timo Scheider still pushing hard. So Jarvis hasn't come in yet. See if what he can do with that, Jarvis. Just checking out his lap time, 1:27.2. Ekstrom's doing 27.0. So I think Ekstrom needs to get in now. Just see that Van der Zande did a 26.2 and Paffett's doing 26.3. So I think Ekstrom probably needs to get in. And he does exactly that. And Ekstrom comes in for a fresh set of tyres, the Hankooks, and pretty close to the Armcos. He came in, down onto the pit speed limiter. And it'll be interesting to see where he comes out relative to Mike Rockenfeller. See how quick this stop is from the Alp Sports Boys. 3.2, that'll do it, that'll keep him in the lead. And here comes Rocky with Spengler behind him. And Jarvis actually, remember, hasn't made a pit stop. So Jarvis. And look at this, Rocky starting to challenge. Just the Red Bull car of Ekstrom still getting up to speed. And Rocky right there with him and hoping to pounce. But Ekstrom probably will get up to speed now. He's got Spengler also right there, the three running together. Jarvis still out there. That's the red car. It's a bit of a speck at the moment with the white roof. He will surely pit soon. So Spengler. Oh, I understand we can go down to the pits now and hear from Ralf Schumacher, who is with Verena Wright.
With Ralf Schumacher. Now, Ralf, what happened exactly? First, it seemed that you touched the car of DC, and then vice versa. It looked like retaliation almost.
Well, I mean, I made a mistake. mistake braking too late and I locked the wheels and I really touched him a bit, which was not correct. But I mean, I didn't do it on purpose, obviously, since he's my teammate and we all try to finish the race. Whatever happens after, I haven't seen it, but obviously he ran into the back of my car. Well, that's racing, it happens.
But you worked yourself forward pretty well. How disappointed are you?
Well, it is disappointing because we would have had a chance today, I think a good chance, because we had a good car. But at the end of the day, I made a mistake myself yesterday. I should have been further up front in qualifying, so I would still be in the race now.
All right. Thank you very much, Ralf. And back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, that was an honest answer, wasn't it? Didn't really want to point the finger at DC, sort of did it in a bit of a half-hearted way. But I don't think there was much doubt about that. It was retaliation. So Oliver Jarvis stays in the lead, but a pit stop was going to drop him down to 12th or 13th place when he makes it, maybe even a bit lower than that. Here's Tomczyk and Scheider. So it's looking pretty good for Audi at the moment. Jarvis, Ekstrom and Rockefeller shown as the top three until Jarvis makes his pit stop. Here's Timo Scheider trying to go down the inside of Martin Tomczyk. All right in his boot. And remember, these are the last 5 races where we'll see the Audi A4 shape racing for 2012. They're switching to the A5 shape, which of course is available in 2 or 4-door style. Tomczyk and Scheider, good battle there. There's Ekstrom. Jarvis finally comes in. See where he cycles out. But this is a good battle between these two. Timo Scheider pushing hard. Just lots of speculation, of course, at the moment about the driver market for next year. Having the rumour that Marcus Winkelhock might return to the DTM with BMW. They've only currently announced the 2 drivers, Andy Priaulx and Augustus Farfus. We expect that Dirk Werner will also be announced very soon as joining them. But meanwhile, some fast and furious racing out here. And, well, Rocky certainly keeping Ekstrom pretty honest. The gap at the moment 1.3 seconds, and look at Bruno Spengler, the championship leader. I wonder if Tomczyk, who's now behind, next one behind Spengler, whether he can get on terms. Still those greyish clouds hanging over the Eiffel Mountains, but the rain fortunately keeping off today. It really was a lottery yesterday in qualifying, and indeed in the races we saw. Just should give honourable mention to Nick Tandy, who won the Porsche Carrera Cup race today after fellow Brit Sean Edwards had a puncture right on the last lap when he was in the lead, handing the victory to Tandy in the Conrad car. As Timo Scheider really tries to push hard now. And this might be a little bit political as Scheider trying to go through. Remember that Tomczyk is in second place in the championship. Those points could be vital, but he is in one of the non-apt cars, and Scheider has made it stick there. So Timo Scheider moves up to 4th place here at the Nurburgring. This 6th round of the DTM that way back when it started 25 years ago we used to call the Deutsche Touringwagen Meisterschaft. Now it's just pure DTM, or German Touring Car Masters, if you will. Flames licking out of the exhaust of Bruno Spengler's car, the French-Canadian driver. In that group behind them, there's Albuquerque in a slightly lonely 8th place, but he'll like to have that point, I'm sure. His best result of his young DTM career. What about Gary Paffett? What sort of progress is Gary making? Paffett now in 9th place, and that was him, well, certainly leading on the Red Bull car and getting past Molina. Or does he? No, he doesn't. This is Eduardo Mortara's view of that battle. And now look at Spengler closing up a little bit on Rocky. Similar lap times last time round. Jarvis putting in some quick laps at the moment. One of that will pull him up the field a bit. Actually, after leading briefly when he stayed out, is now in 12th place. Just go through the top 10 for you. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Timo Scheider, Martin Tomczyk. Then it's Mortara, Jamie Green in 7th, Albuquerque 8th, Paffett in 9th, trying to get into the points. And then Van der Zande, the man who told us at Munich that he was pushing like a monkey. Not an expression we'd ever heard before. Well, I guess a monkey pushes pretty hard. So, Ekstrom, the lead now actually has expanded a bit to 2 seconds. And Ekstrom wanting to prove that he's still a DTM winning, race-winning driver. Nice shots of Jamie Green then for Mortara's car. Up through the 6-speed gearbox. That is the battle for 2nd place. And Spengler pretty close behind Rockenfeller. Tomczyk now in 5th place. So we'll be dropping a few points to the championship leader here if this continues. So we're heading towards half distance here in the Eifel Mountains. So Spengler just had a bit of a speculative look, didn't he? Down the inside, decided didn't have enough space to do that. Pretty wise, I think. But good struggle for 2nd place. Bruno Spengler, always very popular at Mercedes-Benz with the team. Of course, he's been with them for a long time now. Will he make that move to BMW? Rumour might suggest it's already done. Certainly Norbert Haag won't confirm it. Either will the driver. No doubt we'll find out in the next month or so. Just scanning down the pit times. All the Ekstrom very close to getting into the 25s now. I don't think that lap record's going to fall today. Thought it might, but we're nowhere near it at the moment. Mortara and Green. That's the battle for 6th and 7th place. Poor Jamie just bogging down as he took 2nd gear at the start. Cost him about 4 places. Just listening there to the sound of speed. Lovely engine notes from these V8 470 horsepower cars. And a pit stop then from Green. Takes an early 2nd pit stop, trying to get himself out into some fresh air. And that means that he'll go a long way on his final set of tyres. We know that the Hankooks will take it. So bit of tactics going on from Green. He comes in, and Green probably going to drop to about, well, I think he'll drop to his 15th or 16th place. 3.8 second stop for the man who, as a teenager, was a race mechanic and also raced in short ovals. Came up through the F3 Euro Series, of course, won that championship. Been with Mercedes ever since, done a little bit of testing for McLaren as well. Wouldn't actually say to Verena, would he, before the start, that I've no hope of a Formula One career now. And frankly, it would be most unlikely. Meanwhile, Spengler keeping up the pressure on Rockenfeller. Mike with a lot of experience around this track in Porsches. I think he lives just about 20 minutes drive away. There's Norbert Haug. Sure he'll be hoarse by the end of it all. And Spengler just not close enough to pull out the slipstream. And behind, well, 3-second gap to Timo Scheider, but now he got another early pit stop from Martin Tomczyk. Phoenix team bring him in. It's given them a couple of wins this year, the first they've ever had. Way back many years ago, they used to run the Opel squad. It's Opel long gone from the DTM. Still speculation, we might see them back 2012, and Tomczyk comes out just in front of Jamie Green, and is Tomczyk up to speed, or can Green nip by? And so the two men who took the early stops now are running together, and that's the 14th and 15th places at the moment. Rahal Frey running in 16th spot, Susie Stoddart running in 14th. Just the two Grand Prix drivers in trouble. Ralf Schumacher out of the race, as is David Coulthard. Coulthard, well, I said he was out, he's back in the race. David Coulthard, of course he is. He had that penalty, of course. So, DC, right near the back of the field. Ralf Schumacher walked away from his car as Renger van der Zande comes in. And Ericsson, well, Ekstrom I should say, not Ericsson, Ekstrom, get my Swedish surnames mixed up. Oh, look at this. Van der Zande comes out just in front of Rahal Frey. And Ekstrom, I was going on to say, now 3 seconds ahead of Rockenfeller, who's still got Spengler right with him, and Timo Scheider just looking down at the pit times of, lap times of Green. Green just done a 26.4, and that compares pretty well with what Ekstrom's doing at the front of the field. And pretty well a second or so faster than most of the people around him. So you could see Green moving up. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Timo Scheider, Mortara still well in the points. Albuquerque having his best run of the DTM. Paffett in 7th. Van der Zande also going well. And there you see confirmation on the screen. Ekstrom now 3.1 seconds ahead as Maro Engel comes in for his pit stop. 20 litres of fuel goes in. There's the back of the field there. And look at DC. He's still pushing for all his worth here. And DC didn't get the drive-through, did he, for that incident with Ralf Schumacher? Still shown on my screen as under investigation. And that was some 8-10 minutes ago. Ekstrom and Rockenfeller. The battle here we're seeing now is second. There, that gives you perspective. Ekstrom, and then this battle then 3 seconds behind between the second Audi and the first of the Mercedes-Benz. And it hasn't altered much in the last 3 or 4 laps, as you can see from the graphic. Just 0.1 of a second. Remember, Remember, these boys yet to make their second stop. That's another good drive from Mike Rockenfeller. We go out the pits over the back wheel arch of Christian Vittoris, the man who also races in GP2. There's again to see Rahal Frey, diminutive Swiss girl. She is still on her second set of tyres, and she goes wide there to let Molina through. But interested to see if she put up a fight against the next pair, because she would like to keep them behind, I'm sure. So it's mainly the boys at the front who haven't made their second stop. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Timo Scheider. Here's Gary Paffett in from 7th place. And David Coulthard just put in a 25.684. But it's down in 17th place after the clash with Ralf Schumacher. Paffett gets another set of rubber. That was much better this time. 3.2 seconds from the boys. Remember, sharing the I think it's 15-man pit crew there with Bruno Spengler. They share a garage. Shot there of Oliver Jarvis in 11th place. But Ekstrom has kept his head down, kept his concentration up, and just eking out the lead a little bit more over the Rockenfeller-Spengler battle, which is now, well, 3.9 seconds ahead of Timo Scheider. And it's 3 seconds back to Albuquerque. And then you've got the men who are running on their last set of tyres. Just trying to see if anybody else is doing some quick lap times. David just done another very quick one, another down in the 25s. David Coulthard actually at the moment is the fastest man out there. But it's not going to do him much good, I'm afraid. Meanwhile, this scrap between Mike Rockenfeller and Bruno Spengler continues. Both of these two coming up through very different routes of motor racing. Rockenfeller basically coming out the Porsche Carrera Cup. It's where he first was noted, and Bruno Spengler racing in Formula Renault and then in the F3 Euro Series. Got picked out by Mercedes-Benz and has been with them ever since. Ekstrom continues in the lead here. Bruno Spengler, 68 races in the DTM. This is his 69th. Whoa, well, how did Maro Engel get there? Spin off from Maro Engel. Meanwhile, pit stop from Mortara. Now, where's he going to come out relative to Martin Tomczyk? Tomczyk will be well in front, as will Green. So Mortara falls behind Tomczyk and Green. Then we can see what happened to touching Vittoris, and then he managed to keep in a straight and narrow line, and then just missed his braking, did Maro Engel, just too concentrated on trying to get past Vitoris, so Engel off briefly. Driver error, I'm afraid. There, the gap now stabilised as Spengler comes in. Spengler for his last set of tyres, and they'll be wanting a quick sub 3 second stop here. Scheider comes in as well. We'll watch the Scheider stop. Cameraman right there. And Scheider 4.1, problem for Spengler, 6 seconds. Well, you can say he might have dropped 3 seconds on that behind Rocky. See what happens when Rocky makes his pit stop, but that was a bit of a disaster there for Bruno Spengler. Such a lot of pressure on those mechanics. And there is Tomczyk. So we've got just Ekstrom and Rockefeller to come in. David Coulthard also yet to make a stop for his 3rd set of tyres. So Ekstrom and Rockefeller still at the front of the field. Spengler dropping a bit of time in his pit stop. And there, Martin Tomczyk and Jamie Green scrapping over 5th and 6th places. And here Rockefeller comes in. And Ekstrom stays out. Feels oh so slow on the pit speed limiter. Stops perfectly on his marks. This is looking like a good stop when it is 3 seconds. And that will pull Rocky 2 or 3 seconds ahead of Spengler now. But also there's the speed in and out as well as the pit stop itself. And there he comes way out in front of Spengler. There's Spengler. Spengler really pushing hard on his outlap, I think. So Ekstrom yet to stop. And that is 2nd and 3rd places. Timo Scheider 4th, Tomczyk 5th. Green now in 6th place. So far, so good for Matthias Ekstrom, and decides to come in a little bit late. Crucial stop then for the Swede. Huge amounts of experience. This is his 108th race in the DTM. More than almost anybody else except Timo Scheider. And the boys have got to get these tyres on in 3 or 4 seconds. 2.9, great job by the app team. And now Ekstrom will come out, and he'll have, well, there you see the pursuers, and Ekstrom will get out 2 or 3 seconds ahead of them. I notice the gap now between Rockefeller and Spengler. It's only about 0.7 of a second. So Bruno must have had a very quick in and out, because he lost a couple of seconds in the actual pit stop, and there he is. Well, now we see Tomczyk with Jamie Green still chasing after him for 5th spot, and Mortara still giving very good account of himself. Paffett in the final points paying position. So quite a quick in and out of the pits here. It takes just whole pit stop takes just about 20 seconds. On board with Mortara. And still the clouds sitting quite high in the sky. I don't think we're going to get any rain. It's final 16 or so laps here around the Nurburgring. Oh, just listen to that going down a gearbox, Mortara. Remember, they using a sequential box here and actually still using a stick, which is pretty rare in a lot of racing cars these days. Very few racing cars have stick shifts at the top professional level, but the DTM cars do, and I believe that will be maintained into the new 2012 spec car. Look at that, Mercedes porpoising, bouncing around on the front suspension, much more so than the Audis. It's a thing we've seen with the Mercs quite a lot. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller. They're down out of the points. Albuquerque 9th. You'll be a little bit disappointed with that, I think, having been up in the points. Jarvis in 10th, Van der Zande, Molina, Torres, Stoddart, and Engel. Jarvis, Van der Zande, and Molina running pretty close together. Well, Bruno Spengler certainly hasn't given up, as he is still right on the back of Rocky's car there. Just 3.7 seconds ahead of him is Ekstrom. Flash of flame from the Mercedes exhaust pipe. Spengler having a bit of a lock up there. See the two red lights and the rear quarter light showing that he's made the 2 pit stops. Back past the Big Dipper, which is a new feature here in the last couple of years at the Nurburgring. There's Timo Scheider. Here's this big crowd we've had today. We're seeing Matthias Ekstrom giving something of a masterclass. Ekstrom just going as quick as he needs to go, I think, but just banged in a 26.249 just to maintain that gap after Mike Rockenfeller's got his mirrors full of that silver and blue Mercedes of Bruno Spengler. 4 Audis in the top 5 though. And just looking down the field for some battles. Jamie Green disappointing. And finally DC makes his pit stop. As I said, David been putting in some very quick lap times. And stops on his blocks. He'll be off to Monaco this evening. Drops the clutch and out he goes in 3 seconds. Just get the feeling that pretty soon DC's going to get it all together. Remember, he is in one of the older 08 spec cars rather than the 09, but there isn't that much difference between them, and I'm just getting the feeling that one of these days DC is going to spring a big surprise. Had a couple of 8th places in his season and a half of DTM racing, both of them on street circuits. Nice shot there of Martin Tomczyk. There's that shiny Jamie Green car. Green's 69th DTM race. Bruno Spengler still keeping the pressure up on Mike Rockenfeller. I think they're closer than ever before. Meanwhile, Ekstrom's pulled out a little bit more. Gap now 4.1 seconds. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller and Spengler. They are the men heading for the podium. Not necessarily in that order when it's all over. Spengler really pressing hard at the back of Rockenfeller. Rocky hasn't made a mistake. The man who had his breakthrough victory for Audi in the second round of the series at Zandvoort. Had to miss a race, of course, after the Le Mans shunt. And Christensen stood in for him. Tend to forget now that TK was a regular in the DTM. And of course, one year we had Alan McNish, one of the co-drivers for TK at Le Mans and other long-distance circuits. Alan had a pretty unhappy season in the DTM 5 years back. Rockenfeller versus Spengler then. The battle for second place, beating up the curbs. So Ekstrom starts to move a little bit more ahead. About a second between Tomczyk and Green for 5th and 6th places. Timo Scheider still in the hunt there. Look, Timo Scheider, just see the white and red Audi. He's got David Coulthard behind him. He's a lap behind. And then Tomczyk, Green, Molina, and Gary Paffett. Paffett closing up on Mortara. This Nurburgring track, the new Nurburgring, it's hardly used. No, I think it's 26 years ago that they built this track. But nice to see the old full green hell. I think it was Jackie Stewart who gave the old Nordschleife that name. And throughout this race and the practice and qualifying sessions, we've still got cars circulating around the Nordschleife. You can pay your money and do a lap, cars and bikes. And look at this now Bruno Spengler just trying to line up Mike Rockenfeller, see if he can find a way through. It's a tight struggle between this pair for second place. As Ekstrom further pulls away. And of course Rockenfeller having to drive defensively now. That's one place where Spengler might be able to get through, and it's so easy to make a mistake in that right-hander in the Mercedes section of the track. Mercedes got that big grandstand. They call it the Mercedes Arena. And a difficult complex of corners. And Bruno Spengler again proving why he's been a top DTM driver for so long. But at the moment, Rockenfeller managing to hold him off. Ten laps now to go. There's the leading Audi just going through your picture. And then just about 5 seconds until we get the next pair, and then behind that, Timo Scheider, and the lap down, David Coulthard. Again, we pan off the grandstand, this downhill straight. There's the leader. 40 laps in the book now. Rockenfeller, Spengler, and another 4 seconds-ish back to Timo Scheider. And Timo Scheider just putting David Coulthard a lap down. So that's Gerhard Unger, who is the team manager for HWA squad, just having a discussion with Norbert Haug, scratching their head and wondering how their man could get past that pesky Audi in front. Ekstrom now with a handy 5-second lead ahead of Rockenfeller. See the nature of this undulating track here. And right behind in that forest there is the old Nordschleife. Gotta be something to see a DTM car around there. Remember, quite a lot of these boys raced in the Nurburgring 24 hours. A race that Audi had hoped to win, but in fact it was Porsche who took home the honours yet again. And although DC's dropped behind Timo Scheider, he's shadowing him now, maybe learning a trick or two from the double DTM champion. And David looking to like to get past him again. DC still very much enjoying his DTM experience. Now there's that gap, which is still just about 5 seconds. There's Ekstrom, and then coming down the hill behind, just past the sector line there, Rockenfeller and Bruno Spengler. And behind that we can see Timo Scheider with David Coulthard right behind him, but down in 17th place. Jarvis still 10th, Gary Paffett in 8th. He'll pick up a point. I think Gary was maybe already starting to think about next season. We'll start with that brand new design of car. Gearbox and transmissions will remain the same. The new cars won't have as much aero on them as the current ones. You see all those dive planes on the cars. These really are purebred racers. There's a lot of downforce. There's the Audi brains trust, looking reasonably relaxed. Hans Jürgen Abt in the foreground. Still that gap, 0.5, 0.6 of a second between second and third. Timo Scheider another 5 seconds back. The last seventh of the race remaining now. Well, I just wonder if Bruno Spengler is biding his time. He's obviously watching where he's maybe a little bit quicker than Rockenfeller. And there's Timo Scheider. All that success in the DTM, but never a victory here. Being followed by David Coulthard, go on board with Edo Mortara as he chases after Jamie Green for 6th spot. Down the hill, onto the brakes. Second gear, pulling the wheel right, accelerating out immediately into the long left-hander. And Ekstrom just banged in a very quick lap of 1:26.399. Takes him a little bit further into the lead. There's Mortara, the number 19 car, 7th place. And no one at the moment really fighting wheel to wheel. Remember, some of these guys have been on the tyres from halfway. Remember, just like Formula One, Hankook designing these tyres to a specification which is determined by the organisers to provide a certain performance window and longevity. Spengler still on the prowl. Noticed on his website that he had sponsorship of a company that makes Armco barrier called Spengler, and I asked him about it. So I didn't realise your family was in the Armco Barrier Business said they're not. That Spengler is a completely different company, no relation to us at all, but they saw the name, they picked up on us, and said now we're very good friends, but no relationship at all. But that's one of his personal sponsors. Drivers got quite a lot of obligations to their sponsors in the DTM. They are allowed to have the odd personal sponsor as well. David Coulthard's race suit, also carrying the logo of the Wings for Life Spinal Cord charity. So this battle for second place has been raging for over half the race now, with Rockenfeller being chased by Spengler. Most of the time it's been about 0.5 of a second. Never much more, never much less. And then that's the shot back to Timo Scheider with the lap down David Coulthard, keeping up with him without a problem, and looking as if he might like to get by and unlap himself. David involved in that earlier skirmish with Ralf Schumacher. And now the Ekstrom lead lengthens to almost 6 seconds. And this is the best drive we've had from Matthias Ekstrom for well over a year, when he won in Valencia. Remember, we saw... Oh, we got a replay here now. What is this? Here is Ekstrom coming through the so-called heat haze on a day when it's only 18.5 degrees. But the track itself is some 30 degrees, a lot of heat in the tarmac. There is Spengler, remember, Ekstrom doing a couple of road races in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Not a couple of last season, where he did a very good job indeed, but no opportunities this year apparently. And that Red Bull team he drove for now, apparently up for sale. Red Bull will not be continuing with that. Ekstrom, Rockenfeller, Spengler, Scheider, Tomczyk, Green, Mortara and Paffett in the points paying positions. And Spengler still just looking to harry Rockenfeller into a mistake. But Rocky staying cool under an awful lot of pressure. Spengler, the man who led the championship for much of last season, just pipped in the end by Paul de Resta. And Paul here at the Nurburgring just a couple of weeks ago delivering a great result in the points for Force India. I just wonder if Spengler is biding his time for his last couple of laps. Again, just pulls out the slipstream a little bit. Matthias Ekstrom. Man has also had considerable success in some other forms of motorsport, particularly the Race of Champions. Also likes his rallying. I think he's got his own personal rally car. A bit of a lock up there from Rocky, and Rocky goes straight on and loses second place, and the pressure told in the end. Just missed his braking there, and Spengler said thank you very much. Dr. Ulrich almost bangs his head on the desk. Just Spengler just kept whittling away at him, keeping that pressure up, keeping the pressure up. Finally, Rocky just missed his braking, locked it up, went wide, back into third place. Still well ahead of fourth place Timo Scheider. Here we see it, look. Lock up from the back, I think. Remember, they can adjust the brake bias. Difficult to see where the smoke came from, but I think it was the rears. Down into that very tight first corner. That's the reaction. Dr. Ulrich shaking his head, and They're disappointed. The app team. So, experience in the DTM and speed of Bruno Spengler reaps its reward. Now, has Spengler got anything left in the tank to close up on Ekstrom? The gap is still 6 seconds. It's 2 seconds back to Rockenfeller. That's about how much he lost when he locked up. And he'll be kicking himself for that mistake. On to the last lap then. Ekstrom, Spengler, Rockenfeller now third, Timo Scheider fourth, and it's Martin Tomczyk, Jamie Green. And I don't think there's any other battles going on down the field. There is Ekstrom. Certainly back in the speed is the Swede. Just got to reel off these final couple of kilometres. The Audi flags fly. Well, last year here there was a Mercedes 1, 2, 3. Matthias Ekstrom started from the pole and dropped down to, what was it, 6th place? Well, 7th place actually. Well, wasn't like that this year. Here he is, comes to take the checkered flag, and Matthias Ekstrom is back at the top of the winner's podium. Ekstrom wins here at the Nurburgring, his first victory in over a year. Audi win here on what is traditionally Mercedes territory. Spengler comes home second after putting all that pressure on Mike Rockenfeller. Mike finally cracking, locking up under brakes, dropping to third place. Timo Scheider is fourth. Tomczyk is fifth. Spengler increases his lead in the DTM Championship. And, well, some donuts there from Matthias Ekstrom. And also come back from illness since Munich. And look, that's a great shot. Look at those Hancocks smoking there. And Ekstrom, typically Swedish, doesn't usually show his emotions too strongly, but a win like this is certainly firing him up. And look at the Audi flags blowing in this quite stiff wind here. And a good job done by Bruno Spengler. Let's go through the points payers. It didn't change much in the second half of the race, apart from that vital switch in second spot. Ekstrom, Spengler, Rockenfeller, Timo Scheider, Tomczyk, Green. Then Mortara with an excellent 7th place. Gary Paffett is 8th. And then out of the points, Albuquerque. I think his best performance so far in the DTM. Oliver Jarvis, Van der Zande. Molina, he'll be disappointed. Still hasn't got any points this season, the Spaniard. Vitoris, Susie Stoddart, Engel, Frey, and our final finisher, lap down, David Coulthard. We look down on the circuit, and a confirmation of what I just told you. The victory margin in the end, 5.533 seconds. Great win for Ekstrom. We've got a new person singing the national anthems this year. Toby's no longer doing it, and we've got a lady, and I wonder if she knows the words of the Swedish national anthem. Maybe she's just revising them right now. Catherine, she's called. And the traditional banging on the barriers to welcome home the winner. Matthias Ekstrom just bangs that little post that's there that says first, and it's still jumping around on its base. And Rocky still happy with third, but so loved it. And he goes to congratulate his teammate who extracts himself from the car. Spengler there as well. That unusual crash helmet of Ekstrom looks a bit like a Viking warrior. And Audi is celebrating, but Verena's with Norbert Haug.
Mr. Haug, fantastic race that was. Bruno certainly was pushing really hard. Second place for Bruno, but he's clearly ahead even further now with 47 points in the championship. Is that kind of what you were hoping for?
Yeah, I think, yesterday we all remember, and I think the spectators remember too, the weather was just the influence on the outcome of the qualifying. Bruno has had much worse condition. I think he carried a cloud behind him or in front of him, and it was raining wherever he was, and the other guys, especially Matthias Ekström, had much better circumstances. 3.2 seconds gap, that says it all. And so starting fourth and coming home second is a great result, and of course, as you already pointed out, he has more points now. The gap is bigger, which is very good for him. So for me, he's the winner of the day because he improved his championship position by far.
All right, thank you very much, Norbert Haug, and back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely, has improved his position. And just the 4 races coming up now. Brands Hatch will be the next one on the little 1.2 mile Indy circuit. There's Mr. Abt shouting for his driver to come across. And that was the moment the checkered flag waved on Ekström. His first DTM win in over a year, but his second win in 2 weekends, having won at Spa, of course, in that Belgian run Audi R8. And that was the celebration on the Audi Birch. And both the manufacturers seem to be relatively happy with the result. Here was the set of donuts, and look at the smoke coming off the rear wheels. Round and round it goes. Can almost smell that acrid rubber smoke. And finally lighting them up. That's in true Alex Zanardi style. And then there, Ekström. There he goes over to Hans-Jürgen Abt. And going down, high-fiving with the various team members and members of the public as well, I think might have got in there. And then, of course, talking to his engineer, Alexander Stellig, who will be up on the podium, I think. So if Eki had any doubts that maybe he'd lost the plot a little bit this season, he was wrong. There it is now 47 to 40 points. Spengler to Tomczyk. Timo Scheider with 30. Jamie Green in 4th place on 24. Ekström on 21. Mike Rockenfeller on 20. Now Schumacher with 17. No points added today. Then Jarvis, Paffett and Mortara. That's the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. 6 out of the 10 races now run.